Hi everyone. I'm just going to sit tight for about a minute, nothing too long. Just as we invite everyone to the chat, and then we'll go into go through each person. So with me today, I've got someone from the classroom team. So they're named Joe. They joined us quite recently. I think it was about 2 months ago. So they did the course and then joined us from there. We've got Peter, who was a student on the course. I think he graduated about 3 months ago. I know he did the course this year, so he's still quite a fresh graduate there. And then lastly, we've got Gina as well. So what Gina does is she works on the careers team. So they're at the end of the course, and what they do is basically, help you into work, help you prepare for sort of a career in tech. So the way it's just going to work is I'm going to go first, then Joe, then Peter, then Gina. Just a few minutes just explaining what each of us do at Northcoders and how sort of each of our processes work. Then what we'll do is after we've got through everyone, I'm sure you'll have plenty of questions, or hopefully you do, because it is, question time. So hopefully you've brought one or two along with you, and then we'll go through them at the end. So firstly, my name's Maddison, and I work as part of the onboarding team at Northcoders. So Northcoders came about 5 years ago now, and really our whole aim was to bridge the gap between people not having skills in the tech sector and companies needing people with those skills, which they just didn't have at the minute. That there was no sort of bridge between people getting those skills and getting into employment afterwards, which is where we came about. So we've been going for about 5 years. We've graduated over 900 students, and we have a 95% placement rate in doing so. Average placement time is, I think, just over 30 days from there. So the way it works in terms of if you were looking to join Northcoders is we have a bit of an application process before you join us. So if you do apply for the course, the way it works is we send out some materials to you. So if you are a complete beginner, never coded before, you actually in sort of the vast majority there, around 90% of people that come to us and start the course and graduate through us haven't coded before they join us. So with those materials that we send out after you apply, they really get you started from the absolute basics, and they go from there. So anyone can approach them, and even if you're not sure if coding is right for you, if you just want to try it out, there's no sort of commitment at the point of application. So if you want to get those materials just to see, if coding is right for you, if it's something you want to do, then that there's no commitment at that stage, and it's good to sort of try and see if it is something that you definitely sort of want to do. If you drop out in the application process, you decide coding isn't right for you, that's completely fine, and it's one of the reasons we have the application process, because we'd rather you decide before you've committed any time, any money, if this is definitely a career that you want to go into afterwards. So work for those materials. These materials, take about 2 to 4 weeks. The reason it changes is it's still 20 hours for everyone to work for the materials, but some people coming to us aren't employed, maybe don't have families. That person might work for the materials in about 2 weeks. If someone's got maybe a family, a full-time job, stuff like that, it's probably going to take them closer to 3 or 4 weeks to go through everything. So I think everyone going through the process would know themselves how long they feel it would take and what their commitments are like as they're going through the process. So if you feel it's taking you a bit longer than someone else, that's completely fine. It's not going to take everyone the same amount of time, basically. So you work through these materials that we send out to you. You have the support of me and a girl named Bethan. So right away from when you first apply up until your first day on the course, you've got support even before you've actually joined the course there, and we'll help you prepare for the entry challenge there. The entry challenge is based off the materials, and everyone needs to do this entry challenge to be accepted onto the course. The entry challenge itself is an hour, and you get a 15-minute practice before that, and it consists of sort of 7 questions, or what's called challenges. And those challenges will just basically maybe say, using what you've learned on the materials, could you please use code to access maybe a list of data and get everyone from this list that is maybe over the age of 18, but nobody under the age of 18. So you would use the knowledge you've been working on over the past 3 weeks or so, and you would then use code to do that. And there's 7 questions similar to that in the hour. You've got 2 attempts at the entry challenge. So if you aren't successful the first time, we can always invite you back in as well. So you've got a few attempts there. We do base if we can accept you onto the course on the entry challenge. And the reason for that is just because we need to make sure that you've got the aptitude for the course and that you can keep up with the pace of it. Being honest, at times it can be an intense course and it can be difficult. So we do need to make sure sort of at that point of the entry challenge, if someone is going to be able to keep up with that. A lot of people come into it sort of nervous, and I know Joe and Peter did it. Maybe they'll talk about that experience in a minute. I'm sure they're at least a little bit nervous coming into it there. For a lot of people, they've not done tests, sort of been in that test environment for 5 years, 10 years, and when you've got that timer going down, it can sort of throw you off. But all I would say there is you've got a lot of support leading up to it. We'll really take our time to walk you through it so you know what to expect. And then we'll go from there sort of with you throughout the entry challenge. It is open book as well, so don't feel like you have to remember everything on the materials. You'll always have sort of Google to assist you there. So in terms of pathways onto the course, which I'll just go on to quickly, which I assume there'll be lots of questions about afterwards, is so at the minute, we do have scholarships available, but they do end with the government funding on the 4th of January. So after the 4th of January, it will then go back to being a commercial course that you have to pay for. So before those scholarships end, if you have already applied and you've got an entry challenge booked, say over the next couple of weeks, it's pretty likely, that we can offer you a spot there. It could always fill up in the meantime, so it's not guaranteed because it is first come, first serve. If you haven't applied yet, you're probably looking at a February start. And although you would have missed the scholarships, we do have a new payments option. And that option is you'll only pay a £150 deposit. And then you won't make any more repayments until you've got a job after the course and you're earning 24,000 or above. So that's a new payment option that we'll be bringing soon. If you have missed the scholarships, that's sort of another accessible way onto the course there. So I'll go to Joe now, who's just going to sort of walk through sort of the ins and outs of the classroom team and what they do on the course. And yeah, take it away, Joe.
Thanks, Maddie. Hi, everyone. I'm Joe. I've actually been here a little bit longer than 2 months, Maddie. I've been here 6 months now. It's been here ages, or it feels like ages. I graduated the course back in 2017, which was 4 years ago now. It feels like it was only yesterday. In the intervening time, I've worked for a couple of different tech firms, had a lot of fun, learned a lot of things, came back to Northcoders as a tutor 6 months ago. So here I am. Life on the classroom team is always busy. It's never boring. So I guess I could talk you through what the course kind of looks like once you've passed your entry challenge and you're on day one, basically. Your first week will be intro week. So we'll kind of look at the very, very basics of JavaScript. Now, there will be things that you will have learned prior to doing the entry challenge. It's more just a way of kind of getting everyone up to the same level, getting you more confident with the things that you've learned, and kind of giving you the basics of what programming looks like and the sort of processes and methods that we use. Weeks 2, 3, and 4 are fundamentals. So again, we kind of build on the basics that we've learned in intro week. We get everyone to sort of practice everything that we've learned so far, adding a few more things on top, getting you to a standard by which you can call yourself a programmer, basically. The difference with the solo learning that you've done before is that this time you'll have our support as well. So you'll be able to ask tutors for help. You'll be given an exercise to do every day or every couple of days. Some of those will be sprints that you do by yourself. Some of them will be sprints. Sprints is the name we give our exercises. Some of the sprints will be done in a pair. So you'll learn about pair programming and how we collaborate and communicate with each other about code through doing those exercises. So that takes care of fundamentals. The next 3 weeks after that will be the back-end block. So this is where we start building servers and things called APIs, application programming interfaces, things like that. You'll be looking at working with databases. You'll look at making calls to those databases and getting data back that then you can use. You'll be looking at how we get those servers and databases onto the internet. It's all really, really useful. It's a lot of fun. The 3 weeks after back-end block will be front-end block. So this is where we learn about a JavaScript framework called React, which is really, really nice to work with. This is where we start learning about building websites and making things appear in your browser, which is really cool. It's my favorite bit, not going to lie. But the nice thing is, by the end of the front-end block, you will have built a website that communicates with the server that you've built at the end of back-end block. So you will have one big portfolio piece to show to prospective employers by the end of basically the first 10 weeks of the course, which is great. So that's the first 10 weeks. Then we move on to project phase, which is the final 3 weeks of the course. And this is where we put you into teams and you decide on a project that you want to build. The idea here is that you'll go and look at some technologies that you haven't learned about yet. And you'll be able to use those in a project of your own choosing and your own design. It's all about exploring and sort of using the skills that you've picked up in terms of learning new tech. So you'll have a really nice foundation by that point of JavaScript and the different frameworks we use there, but there might be other frameworks that you want to look into. There might even be other languages that you want to look into. You basically get free reign for those 3 weeks. By the end of it, you'll have a project that you'll be able to demonstrate to people. Graduation day is always really nice. Presentations happen in front of an audience. You'll be able to show off what you've built. You'll be able to talk about what you've learned, and you might be able to impress maybe some prospective employers, which is always nice. It's always a lot of fun. And the support doesn't necessarily end at graduation day either. If you need help sort of beyond the course, we'll be there to help you out if you need to come back to us, which is great. So yeah, that's kind of what the course looks like. I guess a typical day on the course, there's no real such thing as a typical day, but I guess the most common format that you'll see will be we start at 8:30 in the morning. First hour of the day will be working on exercises that we call katas. They will be very familiar to you once you've done the entry challenge. It's exactly that sort of format. You'll have some tests that you need to pass. So your kata will basically be trying to get those tests to pass with the code that you write. It's always great practice. We recommend doing them every day. Then 9:30, we will have a lecture. And it will be one of the tutors, might even be myself, talking about what we're looking at today, what the focus is for today, teaching you some new things, maybe having a bit of a discussion. Maybe it's a bit more interactive and we get you involved in building something that will help you out in the exercise that you'll be doing that day. So those tend to go on till about mid-morning. And then we set you off to do your task for the day. If it's a solo sprint, we just send you off. If it's a paired sprint, we'll put you into pairs, and then we'll get you to start talking to each other, say hi to each other, and then decide how you want to tackle the sprint for the rest of the day. And throughout all the rest of the day, we'll sort of be on standby on the help desk. If you get stuck with anything, or if you need to ask advice, or just have any questions, we're always there. All you need to do is send us a little message and we'll get straight back to you. Yeah, and we sort of go from there, really. That is what a usual day looks like. So I hope that's been helpful.
Thank you very much, Jo. I didn't realise you'd been here so long. I think it's because I've been working from home quite a bit, so I've not seen you around. Next, we've got Peter. So Peter, I don't want to say it was 6 months ago, but he definitely graduated quite recently. And yeah, just sort of go over his experience too much. We've more got here, Peter, if you've got any questions about sort of what the course is like, you know, from a student side. But yeah, if you just want to go through sort of what it was like, Peter, that'd be great.
Yeah, sure. I joined Northcoders in January this year. It was in the dark of winter when it was locked down, so it was all remote. There were no in-person options available, which was actually really beneficial for me because I don't live in Manchester or Leeds. I really felt Northcoders was the best thing I could have done, going from starting coding as a sort of side hobby during lockdown last year. And it gradually became something I thought I would seriously consider giving this a go as a job. But, you kind of tell yourself you're being silly. That's just, not feasible. And then, the itch continues and you find yourself at Northcoders who, support you and give you an excellent sort of foundation where you can, I think, well, from my experience, go into a role and understand the lay of the land. You can move into different technologies very quickly. So yeah, I mean, obviously you've heard from Joe about what the curriculum's like and the day-to-day's like. So yeah, I don't really have anything to add on top of that, other than that the support is excellent, both from the tutors on the course, but also the careers and partnership side of things. I found that, a really valuable element. Yeah, I think if you are considering doing it, go for it. It's kind of probably the best thing I could offer. I don't know if there's anything else you want me to add, Maddie.
No, that's perfect. Thanks very much, Peter. And then, yeah, finally, we've got Gina, who works in the careers team, so sort of towards the end of the course and helping you into work there. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. So, yeah, I'm the careers manager and I work alongside another lady called Keely, and we're the careers team. So we run several sessions after you've graduated. So we'll do a meet the careers team, who are we and how we support you. Then we'll do a CV and covering letter workshop, and that's support from our experienced careers team to create the perfect CV and cover letter. We'll touch on industry insights, so the type of businesses that hire developers, growing industries within tech, type of roles and salary expectations. We'll then do an interview session. These are group sessions, so that's advice and guidance on how to conduct yourself during an interview, with insights on the type of questions that you might be asked and coaching around how to conduct yourself and prepare for interviews. Once we've done the CV session, we'll have a one-to-one with each individual, and that's where we'll support you to create and polish your CV and cover letter so that you're ready to start applying for jobs. And then once you've graduated, what's next? Well, you have access to our internal jobs board, that runs alongside our partnerships team, who work up and down the country to bring in relevant roles so you can apply for them. And then obviously you'll get support with applications from the careers team. And then once you start getting interviews, we can give you support with interviews. We can do mock interviews, coaching around questions, and we can give insights and any tips on interview processes to help increase confidence when attending interviews. And we're always just on the other side of the phone. If you do have any questions or you're struggling with anything, we can help support you with those sorts of things and give a lot more sort of intense training around how to bag your first role, just like Peter did.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So yeah, what I'll do now is I'll just read the questions one by one. I'll try and delegate them to the right person, but if you feel you can answer it better than that person, just let me know and we'll go from there. So first question is, with your scholarships ending in January, what sort of finance options can you offer for your boot camps from February onwards? So there's a few finance options already available. So one of them is an advance payment option. So whilst the course usually costs $7,200, if you are accepted and can make the full payment 2 weeks before, you'll receive £500 off, so it'll be $6,700. The next one is one called EdAid, and that is just repaying £250 each month after the course, as well as a $950 deposit. And then there's a new payment option, which is you only pay $150 deposit, so £150 deposit, and then you don't make repayments on your tuition fees until after you've graduated, after you're in work, and as long as you're earning above 24,000. So that option, yeah, I suppose if someone's maybe worried about getting a job afterwards and those repayments, that there's an option for you there then. That last one is called StepX. It's not on the website yet, but if you go to our courses on the navigation bar, the payment options will be at the bottom of that, and you can pick them up there. But that final one, Step X, which is sort of the 150 deposit and don't make repayments until you're earning. I don't know the actual date, but it will definitely be on the website, hopefully within the next week or two from there. Okay, I'm interested in joining the course for the January start. However, I found the application process quite confusing. It definitely can be confusing at times, just because I know when I first joined there, it took me a while to get a head around it, especially when you've not coded before and it's all new to you. It can be a bit overwhelming, which is really why we have me and Beth in there. So in terms of the timeline, how do you go about that? What I would say is we are looking for people from when they first applied, or at least first started the materials after they applied, to keep it within that 2 to 4 weeks, because we want to make sure that you can pick up new materials and new information relatively quickly. We understand that not everyone's going to do it at the same time, though. What I would say in regards to that, though, is I'd probably prefer to just walk you through that step by step, maybe over the phone. So if you wanted to email Maddison, my name, at northcoders.com, what I could do with that one instead is just, sort of walk you through it bit by bit there. Okay, this one might be for maybe Joe or Peter. If our languages are in different, if our projects are in different languages, how will the format of training change, please?
I don't think the format of the format of the training will necessarily change. We basically train you up in JavaScript. That's the language that we teach. There are quite a few frameworks around JavaScript as well. You'll pick up on those as you go through the course. When it comes to project phase and you've got the option to look at different languages, A, you don't have to. And B, if you choose to, project phase is more of a self-study. We like to encourage you to be more independent by project phase. So if you feel comfortable with taking on a new language and that's something that you want to explore, great, we'll be here to back you up. The trouble is that a lot of us tutors probably won't have any experience with the language that you're working in. You might get lucky and one of us is, and we'll be able to help you out, but not necessarily. But I think by that point in the course, I've never seen anyone who has gone to learn a new language and hasn't felt confident or comfortable with learning that language by themselves at that point, which I think is really great. So yeah, the training is pretty much the same all the way through, right till the end of the front end block, and then project phase, it's pretty much on you.
Thank you very much, Joe. This one might be for you again, to be fair, especially if you did the course a while ago and you've joined quite recently. This might be quite relevant for you. So I'd be really interested in how NC's philosophy to teaching / supporting careers has developed since launch. What important things stay the same? What's been the biggest change in approach? It's quite a difficult question, so give it a go, I guess.
Honestly, I don't think the philosophy towards teaching has changed that much since I was on the course. I mean, when I was on the course, Northcoders was a lot smaller than it is now. I joined Northcoders as a student when they were just getting into their second year. There was only, 20 odd students at a time. And since I've joined the course, we now have campuses in Leeds. We've just opened one in Newcastle. There's talk about maybe opening one in Birmingham too, which is pretty exciting. But when I joined, it was just 2 little rooms in a place in Manchester. So a lot has changed since then, just in terms of the entire format of the course. But honestly, the philosophy hasn't really changed. Everyone here is incredibly welcoming and supportive. Everyone pretty much keeps in touch after the course as well. So we always like to hear from people, see how they're getting on after graduation. I guess the biggest change is just the amount of people that we've got working on, the teaching team and the careers team since my day. There are a lot more people because there are a lot more students to support, which is great.
Perfect, thank you. Next one, maybe for Peter, who's sort of more probably the newest into code that is a coder. So last time I wrote any script, GeoCities was a big thing, but I'm enjoying the preparation materials. Do you have any advice for someone who's coming from college administration into coding? So someone who's sort of new to coding, I guess, in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of really good websites, which I think some of them will definitely be ones I think are recommended when you first get in touch with Northcoders. One of them I think is Free Code Camp, which is an excellent sort of free and online curriculum that you can work through in your own time. I'm a big fan of a website called exorcism.org, where you can sort of take a language track, and again, it's just purely from beginner, and you can opt to be mentored, and it will link you up with someone who's said that they want to mentor someone in this language track. And that's a really good website. I've been working on Rust and F# on that website. And yeah, there's so much available if you're looking to get into coding literally from scratch. Those two are excellent, I think. And Code Wars, if you're wanting to practice, I'd probably not recommend that until you've worked through some fundamentals and kind of feel confident in a few different scenarios, because you know, Code Wars doesn't necessarily give you a feedback loop, you know, on whether or not you're, I don't know, doing things well. I'm sure, Joe, you probably have opinions on this, because often the solutions that you can view are very obscure. So yeah, but it's good for practice.
Yeah, I agree for sure. A lot of the time we say the simplest solution is often the best. So if you come across a solution on one of these websites that looks overly complicated, it's not going to help you. So always look for the simplest solution, especially when you're starting out.
Some good advice there. Okay, how does the remote bootcamp work? So it actually works the exact same as the on-site bootcamp. The only difference is the delivery. So whether you're in the building with the tutors at one of the campuses or whether you're working from home, the contact hours with the tutors are all exactly the same. So what in terms of Joe was saying about the layout of the day, you know, start at 8:30, some warm up, then usually a lecture, working on the concepts from that. Shorten that down, but that's the gist of it. Is exactly the same. The only difference is you'll watch it through your laptop, so you would watch the lectures through your laptop instead, and then go from there. In terms of, say, the afternoon when you're working in pairs, you would get in touch over Zoom. If you at any point need the tutor, of course, they're not next to you, so we have what's called NC Help. So you click the button, the tutors get a notification on their side, and it would say, this person has just clicked NC Help. Could you get in touch with them? You're never waiting really too long at all for that support. We have a really good student to teacher ratio at 7:1. So unless, you know, there's a lot of people needing help at once, you know, it's usually 5 minutes tops from them getting in touch with you there. So I'd say it's even quicker than that, really. In terms of the total months to become a full stack developer, it is a 13-week course. After those 13 weeks, we're very confident that anybody can go in at a junior level role into tech, not just in JavaScript, but really in any language. And that would be, you know, it is a full stack course. So you can go into the front end, you can go into the back end. Most people getting a job after the course will go into a full stack role though. But the way it works is we have an internal jobs board, and they are broken down into, I'm pretty sure, location, but also if they are front end, back end, or a full stack job there. Pretty simple, and that's pretty much the same, yeah, for the next question there. Will the careers advice include help to decide whether to become a front end or back end developer, Gina? I think you muted there.
Sorry. Yeah, I think once you start doing the course and you get to grips with front end and back end, it's definitely a discussion that we have with you, but it'll be entirely your preference. We can give you advice on the sort of jobs that are out there on the market at the moment and which jobs Northcoders, if there's more front end or back end. But yeah, as I say, people, once you start moving through the course and they do the front end and the back end, they then start to see which one that they prefer, and it's entirely your decision.
Thank you very much. So in terms of the teaching mode, is it a balance between online and in-person teaching? I'm applying from the East Midlands, so you're eligible for scholarship. Where would the classrooms be located? Okay, So for people located in the Midlands, actually the only option at the moment is the remote option, simply because we don't have a boot camp in the Midlands at the minute. You know, Joe said we are looking at one in Birmingham, and we are hoping to get that up running sooner rather than later. It will definitely, I don't want to say definitely next year, but yeah, it probably will be next year and sort of early next year. We aren't sure on the date yet, but if you do join us from the Midlands and on a scholarship, for the time being, that would be remote. If you join us from the Northwest, probably join Manchester, join us from Leeds, or from Yorkshire, Leeds, and then the Northeast there, we've got Newcastle as well. You can, if you're in any region though, you can still do it remotely, or you can, what most people will do actually is a flexible mix of both. So even if people are even based in Manchester, they can do it remotely. They can come in every day. Most people might do 2 days at home, 3 days on site, 4 days at home, 1 day on site. You've got that choice and that flexibility, and you can decide each day whether you want to come on site or do it remotely. But yeah, for people in the Midlands, if you are joining us, it will be a remote course instead. Okay, so in my case, I have a baby at home. Can I take lessons when I have time or not? So the way the course works is it is a structured course, and it is all taught to you live. So you would need to be there for the core hours of 8:30 till 5. People have done it with children before, if you want to grab them on Zoom and stuff, you can take care of them at the same time, and we'll always try and accommodate for that as much as possible. We've had people, I know there's been like single mums that have done the course remotely, and it's really helped them because they've been able to do it from home. And then, we will try and accommodate for that as much as possible, but you still need to be there learning for those core hours from 8:30 till 5 each and every day there. Okay, out of questions for now. Yeah, it looks like we're out of questions for now. Is there any more that anyone's got before we head off? Okay. So yeah, I guess Joe, Peter would be better with this one. So the course is 13 weeks. Now, in terms of JavaScript Master, I'm imagining it's within than 13 weeks.
I think you could probably study your entire life and not call yourself a JavaScript master. There are sort of different levels of software engineering roles. So there's junior, mid-level, senior. Yeah, it will take years to sort of work up those ranks, I suppose. But in terms of calling yourself a JavaScript master, I don't know. It's a bit open-ended, that question. I think once you feel comfortable with the concept of JavaScript and programming in general, you can start calling yourself a developer, and that's great. But yeah, I honestly don't have a definitive answer to that question.
Mm-hmm.
No, I know with that one, it's sort of when you're in a job in software, in coding, you're always learning new stuff pretty much every day. So you might be master today, but in a month's time, there's a lot more stuff to learn then. So it's fun because it keeps people engaged basically each day, and you are constantly learning stuff new. But I don't think you'll ever fully be there where you're confident enough to say you know it all. Just because there's so much to learn, and you are continuously learning new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right then. So you mentioned that would take 20 hours, and then you have 2 to 4 weeks to apply and set the challenge. What would the deadline be to apply so that I'm eligible to start in January? So the deadline is the 17th of December to complete an entry challenge by. We are fully booked at the moment for bookings, so we can't actually fit anyone in. We do usually have some cancellations though here and there, and we do have a wait list. So as long as you can complete the materials, get in touch with myself. So my email, it's maddison@northcoders.com. You can get in touch with myself and we can just have that discussion about when you would be ready to take it and when we can book you in for. So although it's the 17th of December, that's the last day people can be accepted on. I would say it's likely to fill up before then. So it's a first come, first serve basis, completing an entry challenge. And we have a set amount of spaces we can give out on the January cohort. So, if everyone completes an entry challenge and is successful by next week, then the course will fill up then, and you won't have till the 17th to be accepted onto it. And I hope that makes sense there. All right, I'll just give it a few more seconds to see if there's any more questions. If anything, I mean, if you do think of anything else that you forgot to ask today or that didn't come up, please do email hello, northcoders.com. We check that, we'll go through that each day, and we'll try and go through any more questions that you've got that you didn't get through there. Or you can always give us a call from 9 till 5, and me and Bethan will get to you there. Okay then. Yeah, I think that's it. Just going to see. Yeah, okay, that's it then from our side. Thank you very much for attending. I hope that's answered sort of any questions that you had on the bat, or just made sort of the process a bit more clearer for you. But yeah, if there is anything else that you're still not sure on, drop us an email, hello@northcoders.com. Give us a call from 9 till 5, and yeah, we'll get to you there. Otherwise, have a nice evening. And thank you very much.